Lorde is back. She's telling us to put our feet in some grass, sunbathe, and take life nice and slow. And I support that message. Hi Beats, it's EKG. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome here if you're new. My name is Ebony, but I like to go by EKG. And today I am continuing a series I have on my channel called the Reading Playlist, in which I give you book recommendations based on musicians and their albums. And today we have no one other than Lorde. Lorde is back. Last album, Melodrama, was out in 2017, and now we have Solar Power, which just released this past Friday, and Lorde is basically telling us to rebel against the system, and I love that. I support that. I want to embody that energy. And today I'm going to hit you with some book recs. So we're just going to kind of have some fun. We're going to talk about the themes of the albums and the themes of the books that I'm going to recommend and how they relate to each other. So if you would like to see which books I recommend, I hit you with, you could just keep on watching. So the first song on Solar Power, the introductory song, is called The Path. So in The Path, Lorde talks about just kind of growing up as a young celebrity. So she talks about how that has affected her upbringing, and she says she has nightmares from the camera flash and she wants to just disengage from that. And towards the end of the song, we have the repetition of the lyrics. Let's hope the sun will show us the path. Let's hope the sun will show us the path, which leads into the second song, Solar Power, in which there is a lot of religious imagery of kind of worshiping the sun as a deity and basking in the life source of it. And to recommend my first book to you relates to Solar Power is Klara in the Sun by Ishiguro. Klara in the Sun is about a AI, an artificial friend named Klara, and her relationship to the human Josie. And I think what is more interesting about this book is that Klara is an AF, but she's trying to understand the complexities of the human heart and the many ways that people show their personalities, their emotions, as well as viewing the sun as a god because she's solar powered. So she thinks that the sun can heal the humans. In the world of Klara and the Sun, it is not much different from our world, except for technology has more of a hold on it. And Lorde is doing the same thing. She's viewing the sun as a source of power for her in the same way that Klara does for Klara and the Sun. So I think that's a great book. You should definitely check it out. Okay, so the next book rec I would like to hit you with, based on California and Stoned at the Nail Salon, and just the idea of memory and nostalgia working in Lorde's music, as well as her inspiration. She says she was very much raised outdoors by the ocean, outside by the beach. And a book rec that I would like to hit you with, it's my first poetry book rec of the video. Don't click off. I know a lot of you guys don't read poetry, but to my poetry lovers out there, I got you. And I recommend Grocery List Poems by Rhiannon McGavin. Rhiannon McGavin, if you are unaware of who she is, she was the Youth Poet Laureate of Los Angeles. And in songs like California, the state of being a celebrity living in like Los Angeles, enjoying the ocean, enjoying the beach, but then also struggling with grounding herself in the natural world because she is accessible to so many sources of media. She has to be on go, the cameras are flashing, and Rhiannon McGavin captures those feelings perfectly. Being a resident of California, she paints the beach in a beautiful light. A lot of the themes of nostalgia, memory, teenage crushes, and how those experiences shape us into who we are today are all throughout this poetry collection. I highly recommend that you read it, and I think that California and Stoned at the Nail Salon go perfectly with this poetry book. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so going into Fallen Fruit now, Lorde said that she really liked the unhinged quality of this song because it sounds very Flower Child, and she didn't want to outright say that this is her climate change song or album, like her fight for climate change song or album. And she is very inspired by the age of Aquarius. In this, you'll see later on in songs like The Leader of the New Regime, Mood Ring, as well as Dominoes. And she's very inspired by the 60s, 70s. And I found a book, and this is where my honorable mention comes in. I found a book that I have not read yet, but I think would completely encapture this sort of new age wanting to live in a utopia, which is what Lorde is trying to create in solar power. And the name of that book is called Arcadia by McGroff. And it is set in the 60s, and we have several idealists who form a community in western upstate New York. I'm pretty sure it's named Arcadia, and it's told from the perspective of the first child born into that community. So it is very new age, very off the grid, very in one with nature, and it's kind of rebelling against societal norms. And like I was saying before, Lorde is inspired by the 60s and 70s, and she's also inspired by the age of Aquarius, which, if you don't know, the age of Aquarius is a part of the astrological calendar. The age of Aquarius is defined by humanitarianism, idealism, rebelling against systems and establishments. And I might be a little biased. I love this age because I'm an Aquarius myself. And I just loved all of the songs that had to do with those, especially Mood Ring and Dominoes. Okay, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, but I want to talk about The Man with the Axe, which was one of my favorite songs on the album. I feel like I'm saying that about every song. I genuinely love this whole album. Anyway, The Man with the Axe is the telling of love and of intimacy, and just trying to capture a very pure moment with the sense that you know it may be fleeting and that it might not always last. And this reminded me so much of one of my most recent favorite reads, Open Water by Caleb Azumah Nelson, which is the story, it's a love story, and the story is just phenomenal. It talks a lot about desire, intimacy, and in a way that reshapes what exactly it means, or it kind of examines what it means without having that actual physical connection, what it means to emotionally and intellectually be attracted to someone. The writing in Open Water was phenomenal. I think Open Water is one of those books that if you don't go into it knowing too much about it, you'll be blown away. What I just thought was so fascinating is that the main character is a photographer and his love interest is a dancer, and he talks about capturing movement of people and what it means in a still photograph to still see movement in someone, and then his companion being a dancer, which is the epitome of human expression through movement. So obsessed with this. It is tragic, there is trauma, and it's heartbreaking, but I feel like Man with an Axe relates perfectly to Open Water. Okay, and one last book recommendation that I would like to hit you with is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. If there is a book that has nature, love, intimacy, tragedy, and just what it means to truly connect and understand your environment, as well as being secluded from society, it's this book. But it follows the main character, Kaya Clark, as she is alienated from the society from which she's supposed to live in. She was abandoned as a young child and grew up in a swamp in the fringes of a North Carolina town. And she just grows this appreciation for her surroundings. She just becomes one of the best studiers of her environment and documenting every little thing, from the insects that live in the marsh to the fish to the birds. I feel like you would enjoy Where the Crawdads Sing if you haven't read it already. I know it's one of those books that a lot of people seem to love, but it is worth the hype. and it definitely plays into all of the themes of Lorde is talking about in solar power, just being out in the natural world, in the sun, living a more quiet, simple life, and taking a step back from a society that is demanding so much of the members of it in a way that is unhealthy for mental health, for various reasons. And although Kaya Clark didn't choose to be alienated in the novel, that's not really a spoiler, you find that out in the first 20 pages, she makes the most of it, and the most of it is finding herself and feeling a community in nature. So I think that's great. And that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to watch the other videos in this playlist, I've done artists like SZA, Frank Ocean, Solange. You can just click the link, it'll be linked down below. You can follow me on social media. That'll also be linked down below. And thank you so much for joining me. Love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!
I was like, yo.